Well, the entire state will vote a little differently in 2016 as we switch over to a new paper-based voting system. Here in Baltimore City, elections officials will hold demonstrations for voters to detail the new ballots and polling place layouts. For a schedule of those demonstrations, go to our website. It's WBALTV.com. Now, to the race for Maryland's U.S. Senate seat, a new poll finds the two Democratic candidates really neck and neck right now. The latest Gonzalez poll shows Chris Van Hollen, 38% of the vote in the Democratic primary, while Donna Edwards is at 36%. That's within the margin of error right now. 24% of voters, though, still undecided. Now, we've invited all the candidates to join us here on 11 TV Hill. Each will have an opportunity to discuss their vision. This week, we're joined by Congresswoman Donna Edwards. Thank you so much for coming by. It's good to meet you.
Good to be here.
As we saw those numbers, really only 2 points separating you and Mr. Van Hollen. You're very like-minded. So if I'm a voter, how do I tell you apart? What stands out from your campaign versus his?
Well, I think this election also is about perspective. I think voters want somebody who has walked in their shoes as I have. As I've been traveling around the city and around the state, what I've been finding is that voters are, really want somebody who's focused on their day-to-day lives. I think most of us, want to just do well, raise a family, take care of ourselves and our children, and make sure they do better than we did. And I think they're feeling very vulnerable now. And I think I offer a vision for the state that's really about the perspective of a single mom who's raised a son on her own and wants to make sure that all of our children have the opportunity for a quality education no matter what zip code they live in, that they have an opportunity to participate in a 21st century economy, full participation in a 21st century economy. And I believe I bring that kind of vision to the state and the kind of energy that voters are looking for.
Let's talk about a big issue right now among all parents and people in general here in America, and that's their safety. National security and security abroad as well. What do you make of the strategy by the Obama administration, and where do we stand right now, do you think, when it comes to our safety at home?
Well, I think one, our homeland is secure, and I think that we have challenges, obviously, of making sure that our Department of Homeland Security and its affiliated agencies have the resources that they need to root out the possibility of terrorism here in the United States. I think clearly we have to work with our international partners to solve some of the big challenges in parts of the world, particularly in Iraq, Syria, along the Turkey border. But I don't think the United States can do that alone. And so I have been generally very supportive of the President as he's tried to engage in international partnership to confront these problems and people who live in those regions to confront problems that they've had not just for 1 or 10 years, but for thousands of years.
Another issue here at home, communities and law enforcement, bringing a sense of community together again. What kind of work do you think can be done in the Senate to help foster that?
Well, I'm a big fan of Commissioner Davis here. I worked with him in Prince George's County. I worked with him in Anne Arundel County, and now I'm pleased to see that he's going to bring that kind of leadership here to Baltimore City to make sure that I think where the Senate can play a real role is getting resources into local law enforcement so that we can really engage in the kind of community policing that's going to make communities safer, make them have a trust and a relationship with the communities that law enforcement serves, and so that we can do the hard work of the kind of culture change that I think has to take place within law enforcement, particularly when it's dealing with communities of color.
And women and equal pay and those types of issues have become central to your campaign, and I'm guessing it will remain central as we lead up to the election.
In my time in the House of Representatives, I've been a leader on these issues related to women. I chaired the bipartisan women's caucus, and our Democratic women in the House of Representatives focused on equal pay. And the reason that it's important is because it's not just about women, it's about families. When a family is deprived of a quarter to a third of their income because a woman is not being paid the same as her male counterparts for the exact same experience, that means that deprives not just that woman of her income, but a family of education, a family of things that it's going to take to build and grow and support those families. And so I think that equal pay for equal work is not just a woman's issue, it's a family issue. And I intend to tackle that in the Congress. And look, Senator Mikulski laid a tremendous foundation for that. In fact, I think, you know, we're around the time that we're celebrating the passage of the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, which was her signature piece of legislation, the first piece of legislation signed by President Obama when he took office. We have to build on that so that we make it a reality for women's lives.
Congresswoman, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to meet you. Appreciate you coming by.